Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Stollings. You know me here on YouTube as MarauderEX, and as always I'm your host for Operation Recap, where I take some of the stories from Rainfall.com and I show them off here on YouTube because I do the YouTube thing. I'm a YouTuber. It's what I do. It's what I like to do. So this week, 3 stories, as close per usual, depending on the week. The first one, I would be remiss if I did not discuss Shining Resonance, announced for PlayStation 3. Now, this is another Shining series game, and as you know, I'm kind of a Shining series fanatic. I love the series. It's one of my favorite RPG series growing up. Been very, very sad that recent titles have not been localized, but there's a little bit of hope that this one actually might cross the pond, so to speak. It's being done by Sega. It's also being worked on by Wild Arms Studio Media Vision. Also, now Sega has Atlas under their belt, so this could shape up to be a wonderfully localized title. You've got some very large names working on this. You've got Media Vision, you've got Atlas. Wild Arms was a rather popular role-playing series on the PS1, PS2, and Atlas has been an amazing company to do localized titles and just do them insanely well for their audience. They know their audience. They know how to make a title work for their audience. And I'm just exceptionally hopeful. Like, I've not been hopeful that a Shining game would come out in the US for a very long time. Every time I see an announcement, But now I'm kind of hoping there's a chance. I really am. It doesn't look like it's going to be too much different from the PSP Shining games that have been released in the last couple of years, but it will be for the PS3, so who knows? It could be drastically different. It's in the early concept stages. Famitsu has revealed some artwork, some early in-game stills, that sort of thing. So it's very early on in the process. Hard to say, but I'd rally for it, because there's a chance for this one, and if anyone could do it, I know Mediavision and Atlas would bring a fantastic title. If it's not Camelot, I will settle for Atlas doing a Shining title. Second story for this week, and this is one that I'm gonna get a little passionate about as well. Changes to Xbox Live coming soon. 3 major changes coming to Xbox Live. The first 2 are how their Games with Gold system works. First off, they're going to start giving discounts for certain games as well. The list of games will change monthly, starting off with games like Forza 5, Rise, Son of Rome, etc., etc. And then every month they will change. You will get anywhere from 50 to 70% off for gold users using the VIP room detailing the monthly sales. That's kind of a big deal. It's a huge sale, kind of like the PSN sales going on. Again, trying to mirror that. The second one, also trying to mirror PSN, is games that you get with gold are going to be tied to your gold subscription. Previously, games with gold, you just got to download a free game. That game was yours, period. Now, the games will be active as long as you have a gold subscription. When your gold subscription lapses, you will lose access to those games. Again, very similar to PSN and their PlayStation Plus. So, as long as you have a gold membership, you will have access to the free games and the ridiculous discounts on other games. If it lapses, you will have to renew it before you get accesses. The third change to Xbox Live Gold is the one that I want to talk the most about. Streaming apps like Netflix and Hulu, and several others that not directly mentioned, will be available to Xbox 360 and Xbox One users regardless of if they have gold. This is something that has needed to happen since day one. Microsoft has added a paywall to something that doesn't need a paywall, and quite frankly, I'm very surprised that these providers, Netflix, Hulu, etc., did not pull their support from Microsoft by having their users have to pay through a second paywall to access their content. You already have to pay to have a Netflix account. Why? And I've played on my 360 a lot, and I was very, very happy that the 360 got Final Fantasy XI. It was a little bit easier to work with on the 360 than it was PS2. Still not as easy as PC, but easier than the PS2. And the fact that Square fought to make sure the game was available to play online with a not gold membership, it amazed me that that had to be done. It's a game that I already have to pay to play, and it does not use any of Microsoft's services. Now, I can understand if it's Halo and it uses a Microsoft server, that I would have to pay for gold to make sure that I'm using their server space. But Final Fantasy XI, Netflix, Hulu, those do not use any of Microsoft's actual servers, do they? I don't think so, because I can use them on my PS3, I can use them on my Wii, I can use them on my PS2, or at least Final Fantasy, and don't think it's going through Microsoft, so why do I have to pay them to play someone else's game? But Microsoft has fixed that. I feel it's a little late on it, but progress is progress nonetheless. And speaking of Microsoft, the last story for this week is another Microsoft. This one is just going to make a couple of people facepalm. So, they are offering a Kinect-free version of the Xbox One for $399 to better compete with the PS4 in terms of price point. Now, this is something that people asked last year, why was this not a thing? Why am I forced to get the Kinect with the Xbox One? They said that they want to make it an integrated experience, they want to install the user base for it. If it's a more required part of the hardware, then more gaming developers were going to take advantage of that using the voice commands, using the Kinect features, etc. Rather than if it's sold optionally, then fewer and fewer people would take advantage of it, like what happened with the Kinect for 360. They were very, very committed to the fact that Kinect was such an integral part that they said it would not be removed at the time. And here it is a year later, and it's being removed. This is probably the last thing that I could think of that Microsoft can do a 180 on for the Xbox One in terms of its original design concepts. The constant always-on internet, the 24-hour check, the games only really being digital, the disc versions just being a one-time install and then a coaster, all of these things that Microsoft had originally come up with the console that have now been completely reversed. This is really the last one that I could think of. If I'm missing one, please let me know. I want to know if there's something that Microsoft has said that this is a 100% integral part of the console and will never be changed. Is there anything left to change? I'm glad that they have a cheaper SKU to compete with PS4. Personally, this makes getting an Xbox One a little more appealing to me because I had no desire to get a Kinect, and it's not for the wild, oh, it's another camera that the NSA can spy on you with, because that's already been a thing. But I have enough wireless camera devices in my house that I'm pretty sure if the NSA really wanted to spy on me, they probably could. I have no idea why the NSA would want to spy on someone like me. You know, it's not like I'm building meth labs in, my closets or anything. But I do video game news on the internet. It's a thing. The NSA wants to know exactly, they want to know what I know about the Xbox One and the Kinect. So, but I am glad that there is a SKU now that is more competitive with the PS4. It does make me a little more inclined to get a PS4 and an Xbox One as opposed to one or the other. It's making it so I'm now a little more intrigued, depending on what their exclusives are. I'm a big fan of exclusives. So, and frankly, I've just never really been that interested in the Kinect. I could understand. I actually did like their original vision for the Xbox One. I was never going to buy it, but I wanted to see what they were going to do with it. I've mentioned that several times before. I really wanted to see what they could have done with the original design concept of the Xbox One before they flip-flopped. So yeah, if there's anything that they can change still, that they said they never would, let me know, because I'm kind of curious. But that has been this week's recap. I will catch you guys next week with more news tidbits. Till then, later everyone.